Archers, attack! Keep firing! Let none escape! Another down! Do not relent!
Welcome to another episode of Do Not Relent. I'm Slidewhistle.
'Tis I, Immunization, the vampire, back for one episode only.
It's me, Aaron, Fire Mage Extraordinaire and Horde Punching Bag, and it's so unbelievably hot in this apartment. The AC is broken, and the guy came in, and Cubby Bub asked, like, when will you be able to fix it? And he said, before summer's over. Before summer's over!
What?
The hell? Well, luckily we have a AC pump in here because it is like 92 degrees and very humid in Chicago right now.
Yes, it is 90 degrees out right now, and I'm weeping. I feel like a fried egg in here.
What does he mean before summer ends? That could be like September.
I sent them a snotty email today that was like, I just want to ensure what vague terms like the end of summer might mean. Will we be receiving relief 2 weeks from now or 2 months? Please contact me.
They'll just say yes. But It's also funny because like in our pre-production meeting, we were jokingly saying that we should record using our webcam audios because I believe Slidewhistle accidentally had his on that at first. And then we're like, well, we've never recorded with our webcams actually on so we can see each other. But then Aaron's like, no, I'm actually naked, so...
Yes, I am stark naked, sweating like a stuck pig. I have an apple in my mouth. I cannot allow the world to see me.
It's time for a good old luau. If you use WowUp, I have bad news for you. Things are beginning to get bad in the world of add-ons.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, luckily none of my personal ones have been hit, but I like look over at Slide's WowUp, just see all this red and these warnings saying that these add-ons are no longer being imported, serviced from Curse, I believe, right?
Yeah, so fucking Overwolf is being like, yeah, people are scraping and stealing our data and making it for their own little platforms and losing us money. But meanwhile, Curse Overwolf is like, literally has been busted mining crypto on people's computers and doing virus stuff, and they're not a very good servicer, and a lot of people don't want to use them, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, which is why I went the WowUp way, but I know that we talked about this probably months, maybe even a year ago at this point, that we knew it would come to this point eventually, because very obviously Curse Overwolf is very money hungry, and they are trying to monetize these add-ons and strong arm everyone into using theirs. So that's probably what we're going to have to do eventually. But luckily, none of my major ones have been hit yet.
Aaron, what do you use? Did you just go right to Curse? Or...
Yeah, I just went to Curse because that was what you were supposed to do, I guess. I used normal Curse, and then they were like, and then I used Twitch for like a second. And then they were like, this is what you do now. So I just have that, and the only add-on I have is DBM. And I doubt they're going to come swinging for DBM.
Honestly, that's what I'm trying to be like. Basically, if as my add-ons begin to break, I'm just going to get rid of them. But like, the first add-on that broke was Altaholic. And Altaholic is how I know how much money's on my accounts. Like, it keeps all of my data like as one, and I can check it at all times. Like, I can go to my search, and I can search what's inside of the bank of one of my tunes I haven't used in like 3 years. It's great.
Yeah, I think at some point I stopped using it because I don't know why exactly, but that's why it hasn't hit me yet. But there's probably another add-on that's similar that you could find that could do this.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cull as many as I can that I don't need, and then I'm going to just manually import them like you used to have to do before add-on managers were a thing. It seems a little annoying to have to update it all the time, but at least you get hit with annoying pop-ups in game that tells you. Like, DBM does not let you forget that it's not updated.
God knows it doesn't.
It sucks. And I hate Overwolf. And, like, I feel like even when I had their thing on my computer, I just feel like everything went slower. I don't know. It just feels like it's like just energy sucked, like, from the get-go.
So, what are the other options at this point? If they're knocking chess pieces off the board and WowUp is going, is there something else? Is there another savior?
I don't. Right now, there's not. Like the old people at WowUp are saying they're literally giving you people instructions on how to manually manage add-ons, and they're an add-on manager. Like their whole job is. So I don't know. I guess people are hoping that it kind of pressures them to stop, but I don't like to let other people use their stuff. But I don't think it will. I think most people are gonna cave, and most people are just gonna use Curse because it's the most easiest thing you could do, right? Like, why wouldn't you? So it just kind of blows.
Yeah, I will care more about this issue as soon as they come for something like Voodoo, which is like mandatory for me. But none of my mandatory ones are hit right now. And as Aaron said, I don't really know that they'll have the balls to mess with DBM. That's like the big guy, Ryback, you know?
Not only is it like the most important add-on, my man's has the saddest story. Do you really want to crush one guy who can't afford to pay for his mom's teeth? And he puts out an APB every so often that's like, guys, can you please throw me at least $6 on Patreon? I make negative money maintaining this thing.
I'm also not 100% sure how this works, but I think some add-ons will always be available on WowUp. If they have it uploaded to a different database, I think is how that works. So some of your add-ons on WowUp may never stop working. It's not really like coming for DBM. It's just like if they... I'm sure this man has this out everywhere, right? It probably makes it the easiest to get. Fingers crossed, because I don't have to do that too. But like, I'm looking at my add-ons and I'm like, why do I even have some of these things? Like, I don't use Handy Notes Battle for Azeroth Treasures anymore. I don't use Incognito where you change your name.
I had Handy Notes Ouroboros for like way too long, well after I learned where the flight guy was.
What do you mean? Why would you get rid of that? I still have that.
Handy Notes Ouroboros? Because I know where everything is now.
But I know where it is because I know where I can look at the map. But
they put all that stuff on the map anyways. Other than like the herbalism trainer.
That's exactly.
I don't know. There was just a lot of stuff chugging, and I was just like, this is unnecessary. I don't need this anymore.
Aaron's like, all these young whippersnappers need their GPS to go around Ouroboros. I just know these blocks like the back of my hand.
I know. I wish I had GPS. Motherfucker, I was doing a thing trying to find the mistaken ovoid eggs, and every guide was like, oh, they just have 4827. And I was like, well,
oh my god,
if you don't have the thing, what does it look like there? And like, not a single guide wanted to show me the location.
Why don't you just get Handy Notes Zereth Mortis?
Because something broke me years ago, and I don't trust add-ons other than DBM anymore. How poor can life get?
Okay,
I'm already dealing with so much. How much worse could it be?
In Aaron's defense, I have Handy Notes Zereth Mortis, and it did not help me of finding those missing ovoid eggs. I had to find a YouTube video that had all of the possible waypoints, and I made a macro to help me find them.
Either you have a setting turned off, or I have an extra add-on, because I see those ovoid eggs on my map. So, actually, I think they separate them into treasures. There's a treasures one that I bet that's where the ovoids are.
I mean, either way, even if you have them, even if I had the exact coordinates, those little boys, they're tiny. They're hard to see. You need to be, like, zoomed in.
And they are the distinct same color as the orbs that inhabit them, so it's like, oh, it's tough.
Okay, this is semi-relevant. Now, I don't want to get too much into the world of Final Fantasy, but they are having huge drama right now in their content creator corner.
Speaking of add-ons, yeesh.
Okay, so not to be a little shit, but like I'm gonna be a little shit and say that like I'm kind of living for this drama because it's mainly involving like ex-WoW people, streamers that no longer play WoW that like hopped over to try to bring all their clout over and are like playing Final Fantasy, and it's just like drama between them and like actual Final Fantasy players, and I don't even know. And then like current WoW players trying to get back at them for leaving. It's a whole mess, right?
So the last part is definitely not happening. Current WoW players getting back at them. That's what people are saying is happening. So streamers are being reported for streaming Final Fantasy and having like add-ons on the screen, and Final Fantasy bans all add-ons. You cannot have an add-on. Apparently, it's under the table. So
except for like the big titty mods.
Okay,
and
well,
maybe if it's just for streamers, because Cubby Bub's friend, everyone in their guild is like, oh yeah, I have fatmanpecs.exe.
See, don't dox. No, see, now you're gonna dox her friends. So the rule is you can have them, but you cannot talk about having them. If you talk about having them,
when you show up and your man tits are fatter, people will be suspicious.
Well, like the add-on's only for you. It doesn't show up like that for other people, for the man tits.
What's even the point of having fat man tits if I can't show them off? I want to be a big bar of baby.
So because the streamers are actively having it on their stream, they're getting mass reported for like add-on use. And so people are like, I think this is just ex-WoW players getting back for them being mad that they left the game. And I'm like, I don't think any of us even knew this was happening until like now. And we're like, wait, you guys can't have add-ons? And I didn't think about this at all. It's because they're on PlayStation. So it wouldn't be fair to console players if PC players can have add-ons and then you can't have it on console. So I think that's the core of this. It's just wild because I'm sitting here like we're playing Peggle on flight paths. I have add-on to make my clothes look silly, or like I can roll the dice on my transmog, and like you can't have anything like officially. That's crazy.
And like I feel like the big one that everyone always talks about is like damage and healing meters or whatever, and that is like their main stance of like not wanting to make anyone feel bad. But I don't know, but like literally we joke about the big tit mods, but like I think people could get banned for saying that they have those too.
Yeah, all mods are bannable. It's against TOS. So it's crazy. It's developing.
Even Warcraft did that, right? That was like forever ago. They gave people hard bans for having like big gnome booby modifications.
Yeah, I think the difference is that WoW, I think they have a team or something that's dedicated to like finding these add-ons and like either breaking them or getting them like pulled down or like revoking API access to like the person who made them. And I don't think that exists in Final Fantasy because from their end, nobody should have these in the first place. So it's very weird.
Yeah, which is weird because like I feel like in WoW we are a culture where it's like add-ons fine. Literally everyone has them, and everyone the baby needs them more or less for one thing or another that they want to do. Whereas over there it's the complete opposite. And I had a point here, but I just lost my train of thought.
Warcraft is so understanding of the add-ons that they've now started just implementing add-on features rather into the base game. They're like, okay, we get it. Everyone had like panel move R that doesn't have another E. It's just move R.
Oh yeah, or bartender, and then in Dragonflight they're just gonna have that in the game. But I remember where I was going. Yeah, and then like WoW, they're just like if there's an add-on that we find is like breaking our vision of the game, we will just break the add-on, like they did with the Among Us helper add-on that the Race to World First people were using.
They're like too strong. I do think part of it though is that WoW is old and ugly, so like a lot of the add-ons, literally, if we didn't have them, the game would be like nigh unfunctional. Like I don't know, Aaron. I don't know how you're playing with base bars. I don't know how you don't have sexy map working, how you don't have tom like, so at the coordinates thing you're just fucked, like like you don't know where to go.
And it's so standard that no one it's just like, oh, they're, especially because with my thing where I can't see like pins in the map, people will be like, what coordinates? That, and I'll be like, well, I don't have that. So
wait, pins are base game. Pins are base game.
I know pins are base game. I can't do it because of that's the thing that I can't do. I can't do pins in the chat. I can't look at things that are in the chat when you like link them.
Yeah, this has been an established problem that Aaron's been having for a while that we just don't understand.
Only on Growlina. I have literally done everything. I've reinstalled the game. I've switched computers and it's still a thing. It's disgusting.
So could you link like pin coordinates on like Booty ATW?
Yes.
What?
Literally every other character, it works fine except for my main.
I wonder if there's like, for some stupid reason, they have like a pin opt-out button. If you're a true old head, you're gonna opt out of pins, and somehow by accident, like, you hit it.
Ooh, you put in like 2.5 hours into Classic. We see what you are. You're a true blue Warcraft player, and no, I would love to cheat, especially because people are like, roll on this piece of gear. I can't tell what it is, so when people get things and it shows like that list of everything that was got, I have to wiggle my mouse up and down and like write down with my other hand if something's good for me so I can roll on it.
I'm just picturing you like taking notes, and you have like your encyclopedia of Seppi over on your other side of the desk, and you're like flipping through all the gear. It's like
This is just my level of determination. It's like fucking, which one was it? The Nazoth raid, where DBM stopped working and I never fixed it, so I just learned all the fights real good.
That's gonna be one day once if WoW does come to consoles somehow, does that mean that they're gonna have to revamp their TOS against add-ons?
I would have to imagine, yeah, because for the same reason, you don't want them console players to be handicapped even more.
Maybe they should play on a real gaming computer. Okay, well, that was a good add-on section. Everyone, good job. Round of applause all around.
Yeah, there you go. Solid fourth of the show. Add-ons.
we did it, you bet we did it.
Okay, so this is funny and kind of sad. So the Hall of Fame for Sepulture of the First Ones is closing for the Horde, which means that 100 Horde guilds are going to defeat Mythic Jailer. I think... Oh, no, it already happened, I'm pretty sure. So at next reset, well, nothing happens. It just
Well,
closes.
no, the Horde people will be able to cross-server raid with each other.
Incorrect.
Just Horde people. Just Horde people, I think.
No. They have to wait for the Alliance to finish it before cross-faction opens. It opens for everybody at once. They don't just get it. What this means is that the Horde guilds can no longer get the title for whatever it is. What is it, like famed Slayer of the Banished One is going away for the Horde. It says when both the Horde and Alliance have been completed, Mythic Sepulture, the first ones, will become available for cross-realm groups. How many Alliance guilds do you think have killed Mythic Jailer?
10?
I know it's always really far behind. I would say like less than 20.
9.
Well, good for them, because when I saw that news the other day, it was only 8. And I was like, ugh.
So, but however, people are saying, and I kind of agree, they think that Chinese guilds are boosting other guilds to getting it. So they're selling this, and then their members will join your team and they'll help you get it. Because all you need is a majority of your guild, right? So if you have like 15 of you and they're on the same server with them, it works the same. And there are a lot of Chinese guilds on this list.
You know what's crazy, though? On the Alliance list, at a quick glance, only one of the 9 is, I believe, probably US or America's based. Because I see Europe, Taiwan, China. But then like the other 3 Americas and Oceania ones are Frostmourne, which means that they're probably like Australia, right?
Yeah, Frostmourne is normally Australian guilds. I'm glad that Honestly's up there. They're always holding it down, number 3. But yeah, so it's gonna be a long time. I think people are predicting like it's gonna be like a couple of months before this happens. I mean, it just sucks because everyone's playing Horde, and it's not even like a power thing anymore. And I think they're gonna have to do away with Hall of Fame, because once cross faction opens up, that doesn't help Hall of Fame. That doesn't help Alliance Hall of Fame. In fact, probably would just mean more players from the Alliance will probably just play Horde to play with their Alliance friends later. I don't think
you just team up with Hordes now. It's not like you and your human friends feel motivated. You're just like, well, they did it. Come on over here.
That, or they just make a combined Hall of Fame and make it like 125 or 150 or something.
Which will still be Horde dominated, but at least then it's an actual listing of like, okay, these are just the best people in the game.
I think if they were to combine them, I think they would just get rid of it because they would realize how unfair it would be. People are calling for cross-faction guilds because of this, and I'm like, that's not a very good reason for cross-faction guilds. That doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. Even if they cut it in half to be 50 and 50, just do that. If they made it 50 and 50, maybe some Horde guilds would come alliance, or maybe it would just mean less Horde guilds would try to get Fame Slayer of the Jailer.
If they made cross-faction guilds, I don't think it would be because of the Hall of Fame, and it shouldn't be, and it won't be. You know what I mean? There's enough other reasons for them to want to do that than even thinking about this at all.
Okay, looking at past Hall of Fames, I guess we're actually not that far behind. So they have the numbers that Alliance wore when Horde hit 100. So when Horde hit 100 in Uldir, Alliance had 12 guilds do it. In Bizarre Lore, 15, Crucible of Storms, 12, Eternal Palace and Nihilotha were 19 and 20. And this whole expansion for Shadowlands, Castle Nathria had 12 guilds, and Sanctum had 12 guilds as well. So, I mean, like, you know, it's a little smaller, but not by much.
I mean, this is the smallest one, which I guess, does that mean that this is the hardest raid tier since we've been raiding, basically?
This is by far... This
feels it.
This has got to be the hardest raid tier in a very long time. I mean, just the world first kill, that these dates alone kind of tell you.
And I'm definitely over here reaping and sowing, because when Mythic guys were doing it, the race to Mythic first, I was like, I loved it being this difficult. The true, like, the cream of the crop rises to the top. Now that there's a fraction of the difficulty on Heroic, I'm like, I'm tired of getting my ass whooped. I wish we could go back to just, like, dying on the final boss, not the 7th guy.
Yeah, Anduin has been stomping us in the face for 2 weeks now, which I think does give a little bit of credence to the theories that originally, before everything got held back or whatever possibly, that I think it's possible that they could have intended for Anduin to be the end of this raid tier and then having, like, the remaining ones as part of a final raid tier after this, if they could have done it, like, fully.
I feel like it would have made sense. It feels a little weird, and first week I guess it made sense, but it feels a little weird now to kill him, have this big dramatic moment, and be like, oh, and also there's 2 demons and a Starboy in there.
A motherfucking Starboy.
Yeah, no, this is by far, like, the hardest tier. And I just pulled up Proudmoore's guilds that have killed Jailer, and we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 37, 38 guilds, I believe, that have completed Heroic. It's hard to tell because, like, when they have Mythic, I can't really tell if they kill Jailer or not, but it's not very large.
Okay, so on US Proudmoore, only 21 guilds have AOTC.
Yeesh.
Super tiny. I mean, this shit's hard. And it's funny, though. A lot of people are saying, I don't want that Jailer trash in my vault. So I wonder how many guilds are also avoiding killing the Jailer because they don't... But who would avoid... Would you avoid AOTC? I mean, I guess some people would.
I don't know. I guess if you don't care about it, like, you know that you and your gang are going for cutting edge. But I know I would not avoid
Actually,
AOTC.
the answer is 100% yes, because Heavy's new guild, Eternal Kingdom, like, Proudmoore's guild, doesn't have AOTC, I don't think. But they are 7 out of 11 Mythic or something crazy like that.
I mean, I guess get the big boy loot and then come back for it later. That's super interesting.
Wait, no, they do. Okay, so never mind. They were the 11th guild to get AOTC, but, like, they could have been the first if they wanted to, but, like, they decided to just go to Mythic instead.
And it's a real darned if you do, darned if you don't, because I know in the past I've championed, like, I love that the important stuff is not locked behind Zoval, so you don't have to kill him to feel like you got stuff. But now it's like, well, maybe they should have put something interesting on him. He's so boring that no one wants to visit him anymore.
You know what's funny? As of yesterday, the 21st guild to get AOTC on Proudmoore is the first Horde guild to do it on Proudmoore. I'm like, there's a Horde guild that gets AOTC on Proudmoore?
I was reading all the names of these guilds, and I think myself to be pretty Proudmoore savvy. I know Eternal Kingdom. Who the fuck is Uncommon Sense? Liberty and Allegiance? What? Forgotten Legends? Do we have a guild called the Space Jam? And they're 11th?
Are the Society of Gamer, GAY-MERS, in there?
No, I don't see him. I don't see him on this list. At least not on like the top list. Agile Peacocks, our future sister guild, is number 23rd on Proudmoore with 2 out of 11 mythic bosses. Let's go, Peacocks!
God, why did they want us? They had already gotten AOTC. Why was it literally just like for the 4 people that do well on the other team?
Okay, I think I'm not gonna lie, as bad as some of us are doing in Raid, like as a whole, we have some individuals that are shining. Me and Pablo, last time I checked, were we were in the top 15 druids, Pharaoh druids on Proudmoore, like overall. We have in the other group, obviously they're big key pushers. They're high as fuck on like their like lists for stuff. Even like Honors is a high survival hunter. So like we have members individually that are like excelling really, really well.
Honors is a survival hunter now?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Isn't that ironic?
I guess, yeah. Gandalin better watch out. Otherwise, I will be the resident magus of Uno Mas.
Honestly, right now, is it just you and Gandalin? I think so.
That's it. And then we have 2 priests.
Brio's on Flashy Poke sometimes in PvP, his Frost Mage.
There you go. Us and Flashy Poke, holding it down.
I got an urge to Frost Mage on Deoxyribose, so I think I'm going to spin that bad boy back up again and just have him hanging out on the side, waiting for his chance to jump in. But yeah, I guess talk about Raid. Anduin, as we said earlier, been putting our group in the head constantly.
So yeah, our second night was basically entirely on Anduin. I think we had 2 pulls where we very quickly disposed of Halandris and then moved on to just fully progging on Anduin. And honestly, at the end of it, we did get a little bit farther than we were last week, but we still have yet to see phase 3. And part of this is because like our 4th healer reset his computer because his mic wasn't working.
Exist. Honestly, he just blinked out of existence.
He literally, and he hasn't said anything since. Like he hasn't posted a single thing. Like he was tagged and asked if he can get back in, and he hasn't showed up. Like, is he okay?
Now I'm a little worried though because on fights like Anduin, we need 4 healers, probably, because, 2 and 2 for the 2 down phases. Honestly, sometimes if your group's big enough, you want 5, even. Have somebody stay up to help people who are upstairs with the healing through the befouled barrier. It's just hard.
It's time to abandon your hunter and come back to your priest. It's probably the only way the group's gonna do it.
Yeah, poor Metalloid. He's been doing the most, but circumstances have forced him to retire.
We just also don't have a big enough group for me to make that switch either, because then I don't know, it's just we don't have enough DPS either. We'll have too many healers for the DPS ratio.
I think eventually if it happens though, if it keeps happening, we should try it just to see if we can get to phase 3. We can slow burn it. I don't think it's a race necessarily. It's a race at some points.
The only other reason is that my hunter provides good CC with the frost traps and tar traps or whatever else we need. But I guess I technically could shackle the ads as well if I needed to.
And I could bring my paladin and I could turn evil, I guess. We have warlock fears up the wazoo. We just have to tell them to use them if we need them. If things keep going this way, we should at least try it just so people can see it. Because we're hitting that wall where people are gonna not want to show up to Anduin, and then we're gonna have nobody to do Anduin, and we have to be like, come on, we got this. We just gotta rally and put it down.
I would also, and this is selfishly, I just want to see Immunization. I haven't seen that bitch in forever.
Yeah, I just raid on the weekends and do a few keys during the week now. It's
very casual lifestyle. With Dogs with Jobs, we killed Rygalon for the first time last week, and that fight is a bitch. And I'm like, if we can't kill Anduin, how the fuck are we gonna do Rygalon is literally, it's the most personal responsibility fight. If one person fucks up, you all die. And more so than Anduin.
Sorry, your cadence at the beginning of that made me start to chuckle to myself because it was very much so like RuPaul end of the episode. If you can't kill Anduin, how the hell are you going to kill Raglan?
Everyone's just doing like their little shuffles in their heavy outfits as he throws quasars out.
Oh, what is the change on her? Oh, I remembered the change. There's a big ball.
There's a lot of changes on heroic Raglan. There's this entire other big orb that people need to soak, I believe.
I think the tank needs to soak it, or it's better if the tank soaks it. So if it gets near you, you need to get away because whoever's closest to it will soak it. So if it's near you, get the fuck out. And
Yeah, so that's during the upstairs phase. You still need to kill all the quasars before they get to him in the upstairs phase, and then you need to kill the unstable matter to once he gets to a certain amount of energy or whatever it is to go to the downstairs phase. But then in the downstairs phase, you also don't attack, or do you attack? You still attack Raglan, but then also we need to soak these two other orbs that are down there until they're gone, and then very quickly move out, or else they'll explode and then go to a second one.
Yeah, so when you finish soaking an orb, it explodes, and you have like 3 seconds to get out. So like we have a special warlock gate set up on the fly to get out in time, and then we stampeding roar the second one, and I'm like, this is a lot of coordination. I'm getting a little nervous.
And then once you do all that coordination, it is a DPS check in the end still.
It's got a lot going on. I think we could easily do Lords of Dread. We are Among Us masters. Like, we barely faltered on normal Lords of Dread, I feel like. There were some problems with, like, the green circles a lot, but the Among Us phase, we got that shit down so quickly.
And in Heroic Lords of Dread, everything's basically the same, except there's a lot more damage going out, which our healers are great. They'll be fine. But there are just a lot more green puddles that go out, so we just need to dodge that. And I think we got to a point where we were good at dodging them, although it's been a while since we've been there on normal, so we'll probably need to have a little bit of relearning just to see the fight again.
I think if...
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I hate to interrupt. Cubby Bub just came in with a beautiful plate of spaghetti. Yeah, baby! This is what I was waiting for! No.
You gonna eat it while recording?
Yeah, if you hear slopping in the background, it's me eating motherfucking spaghetti!
Or is he gonna is he gonna sit next to you as your cat tries to get to it? Give me them spaghettis, she says.
Oh, she isn't in the room right now, but she'll smell it soon and she will be attacking me.
But I think if Lords of Dread and Anduin were swapped, I think we'd be golden. Because then we could kill Lords of Dread with Unamaz, get some more tier pieces for people, and keep pushing into A&D. Andy's gonna fucking fuck us for, I think, maybe, honestly, hopefully not 2 weeks. I hope next week we get him. I have a lot of changes to make. I've been doing a lot of research on every single person's character. I've been looking at what we can do for defensively. I think next week, I think we're gonna kill it. With all of my suggestions I'm gonna bring to this table.
I can feel it. I know I personally made a bunch of changes. I learned a little bit more about my rotation. I learned the talent structure I had was from 9.0 and never updated it. But that's been done now, so hopefully I'm bringing more damage.
Light 'em up, rah, rah, rah. That's your fire call.
I say it every time I use combustion.
I think a lot of it is, too, it's weird to say, stressing how people need to take less damage, which sounds stupid, but I don't think people realize how much damage these things do. Like, Wicked Stars do so fucking much damage.
And beyond just doing damage, they silence you, so you can't use any ability to heal yourself.
So, like, it's going to be a lot of, like, saying, don't get hit, don't get hit, don't get hit, which is, like, redundant, because you shouldn't be getting hit, but...
Yeah,
you know,
and I hate to babysit people 3 times my age, but it's like, yeah, we can't help you out with that one. You can't get hit on that guy.
Yeah, and then also I think sometimes people are like, we need to soak this barrier, and they stay on the barrier until they die, where I think we need to remind people that if you are going to die, step out of the barrier, get healed up, and then go back in later. I think people were dying to that, which... They're trying to do the right thing, but like it puts a healing debuff on you and does damage to you, so it's hard for healers to heal you up while you're in there, if that makes sense.
I think also people were dying, soaking the barrier, and then they had Wicked Star on them, and so they would get out way too late or get out in the wrong direction and send a star flying through people who are soaking the barrier. And so then it's like, oh, we're dead, homie. We ain't gonna make it through this one.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that we can clean up, and I think we will get there. I honestly think if we make it to the next phase won't be as hard as the phases that we've been through to get there, if that makes sense.
I think that makes sense. Just get a Vanish Rune and rip it. Alright, should we do a growl so Aaron can eat some spaghetti during the break?
Oh, you know it. Growl, I need at least 3 additional minutes to eat this pasta fasul. Cover for us, baby. A gabagool.
Hey, yo, Cub Spaghetti.
Hey everyone, it's Growl. I'm coming to you from the icy peaks of Wintergrasp. I'm chilling, get it, with my new friend Grapple. Grape, it's 2022. You're a level 60. What are you doing here? LOL, that's a very valid question. I just like coming back to the zone and flying over the buildings. Sort of like you were just doing. Well, you are correct. But I was doing it to be an explorer. I'm here for work, not for pleasure. What makes you return so? Well, to be honest, I find it really funny how low-res all the stuff is, lol. It's a magic time capsule to an age long forgotten. Now there's an answer I can gel with. You heard my man Grape, Blizz. Keep these old zones looking ugly, so we can appreciate where we've been and where we're going. Reminiscing and remounting the Griffin, it's been your girl, Growl. Thanks, Growl. The Critical Role universe is getting bigger and brighter, and I, for one, am loving it.
I can't wait to hear this one. What the fuck?
You mean we just heard that one?
Oh, yeah.
No, that's a tweet that I saw when I was bare-ass naked pooping on the toilet, and I said, I hate Critical Role, and I turned off my phone, and I went to go put it in my pocket, but I have no pants.
Hot take. Whoa, be careful. Don't. I like Critical Role. I don't hate it.
It's fine. It got too big, which is not their fault, but it's become sort of like how Adventure Zone was in like early D&D, where like you're like, let's do D&D, and people are like, we'll play out our favorite plots from the Critical Role. And it's like, ugh.
Speaking of critical hits, roll.
Yeah, baby. What you gonna talk about?
Okay, so Spoils of War has returned. Now, okay, so Spoils of War, it's a buff that you get while inside battlegrounds and arenas. And with the buff, you earn 25% extra conquest and 40% extra honor. So, and last time this happened during BFA, this shit lasted for, like the entire rest of the fucking patch? And it coincides with them uncapping Valor and uncapping honor. Or uncapping conquest. Shit.
Yeah, which they have also done as of this last reset, correct?
Yes, sir. And this is great because on Mondays, which is something I never ever thought this guild would do, we run rated PvP Battleground nights, which is insane that we've been able to do this the past, how many weeks now? 7?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 months now that we've been doing it, and our little squad, there's probably like 7, 8 regulars, and then a few rotating people who come in as needed. We're like gearing up in our PvP gear. It's been kind of fun. It's Aaron. It's led by Bear, which is a little bit of a throwback.
Oh yes, I've seen.
Bear. So Bear Force 1 was when we first joined Uno Mas. He was our raid lead, and I love Bear. He's a little aloof. He's exactly our age, which kind of scares me a little bit. I thought he was like an older, like.
Yeah, he brings an energy of someone at least double our age. Or I guess like 45-ish. It's very like very calming energy. It was a nice man. I don't think I want him giving me orders, but
I was gonna say, I think we mainly thought he was like older because that conversation of when he benched Aaron came off as like an uncle being like, "Listen, kid," like, you know what I mean? Like, it was weird, right?
yeah.
Honestly, I forgot all about that whole ordeal. I always forget about that ordeal.
It's crazy to think that he's the one that led us through all the Legion raids, right? Or no, halfway through. Isn't that when he stopped halfway through the Legion raids?
I don't remember, because there was a point in Legion raids where any of us were not there, because that was when Aaron was in Disney, and then Slide and I also just stepped out for a while in like Trial of Valor or whatever it was.
The end of Nighthold.
He was around for Argus. I do remember, if only because when BFA started, we went into Old Deer with him, and then he was just like, not feeling it. Gonna go, I don't know, look at the back of some cereal boxes.
And that was when the great drama began with Credibility, I'm done talking about him. But anyway, so PvP night has been super interesting. So it's an organized night we have, but we only do like 3 matches in a night, and he's like, do you guys want to do one more? And I'm like, Bear, we could go for like 2 hours, but like, I'm not gonna say that. You know what I mean? And like offer everybody else up, but we don't do a lot.
Because the thing is, it's scheduled from like our time 8 until 9, 1 hour, and we start grouping up at like 7:55. And we don't even get a full group most of the... Yeah, right. We don't even get a full group until like 8:15, 8:20. And the queues sometimes take a while. So we get 2 matches in and it's like 9. And then Bear's like, are you guys up for another one? And we're like, yeah, Bear, we are. Come on, go.
But then what happens is, after we all disband, what does Bear do? Bear continues and does other rated battlegrounds and does other battlegrounds. And I'm like, why don't we just keep going? Like, why don't we stop? I think he doesn't want people to get burned out and discouraged. But at this point, it's the opposite. I'm starved. Can we do some more?
Not
he
that
wants
it
to
matters,
keep you hungry.
Especially for RBGs. What's the relative win-loss ratio?
Okay, so I could... Oh, you know what? I'll get on Paladin. I'll check this out like later. Because it shows. I think when we first started... when we first started, it was levels of Uno Mas selling guild runs. We brought in people who we didn't play with normally, and we got absolutely destroyed. I'm talking like we didn't kill anybody. Like, we all died constantly and nobody lived.
Yeah, I'd say like progressively we've gone from 0 out of 4 wins in a night to I think 2 weeks ago we won like all 3 of our matches, and then this last week we went like 50-50 or something like that, or like maybe 3-1 3-1.
Yeah.
Like we win nowadays, we win more than we lose.
So it's actually great. People are like, you can see a very clear progression on it, and we're kicking some ass. But what's sad is that whenever we get horde side, like, because so sometimes it'd be like, oh, you're playing as the horde, because there aren't enough horde RBG people queuing up, that it just does alliance be alliance, and one of you has to be horde. And when we're a horde, I'm like, we're gonna win because we're facing dirty bad alliance people. I turn into a horde for a second. I'm like, these idiots are gonna lose.
I mean,
but those are the ones we
know
lose
who
during.
we are.
Yeah, but then we always lose. We've like almost never won as horde. So they're probably like, oh god, we're gonna lose, and then like we lose to some fucking idiots. Like, they're so bad. And I'm like, how do we lose? But I think the most frustrating thing about the RBGs is that Bear has me on my Paladin base sit, which means that I don't even get to fight for every hour on Monday. I sit at a flag and I just wait for someone to attack me. And who's the people that attack?
I wish that could be me.
No.
Oh, I'm such a base sitter anyways.
No, Aaron, trust me, you don't want that. Because who's the person that normally is going to attack the base that's being base sat? Rogues, Pharaoh Druids, any other invisible class. When a rogue comes to me, I don't even get to fight them. They sat me, they go for the flag. I use a trinket, I hit them. They re-stealth. They hit me again. I bubble. They re-stealth. It's just, I'm not even fighting. I'm playing like some shitty like mind games. and it's not fun. And I'm like, Bear, can you fucking sit, please? You're a tank. You're supposed to sit the base and let me fight. But now with this conquest shit, we're about to be swimming in it.
Yeah, no, so that's exciting for that PvP group. And we can not understate the fact that Valor is also uncapped now, which means that we can just, this is great for alts too, you can just like spam lower keys if you need to get Valor to upgrade your gear. It's just so good. This is the part of the expansion and patch that like truly, I think 100% like alt friendly now, right?
The only thing holding you back is gaining flux, I would say, for making legendaries and for turning it into tier. Obviously, you can get that fairly easily, but do I want to go to Zerath Mortis all the time? Absolutely not. I do not. But it is probably the most accessible it's been in a very long time, I would say, right? With the Waste of Unity, the Belt of Unity being free for doing the campaign, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I agree. At the very least, I'm excited for the uncapped Valor on like my mains, on my Hunter and my Priest, because that just means that I can upgrade these weapons that I've been waiting to upgrade.
Think about that. I have weapons on my Paladin. You know, it's funny. I was all on my Paladin, and I'm done with him. I only use him for PvP now. I don't like doing content on him anymore. Because you know what?
When you hang out with the canines with careers, who do you play as now?
Well, okay, so that's the thing. Last week, I went with them, and I was like, I don't want to play my Paladin, so I'm just gonna grab a beer, and I'm gonna close my eyes, and I'm gonna do all these locked bosses on my Druid, so we can get to the end faster. And I mean, we got there faster, and the fights were like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. They weren't very long. And I got to do some parsing, I guess. That's kind of fun, just trying to get the best parse. I don't know. I'm just kind of over Paladin rotation. I fucked up. I thought too hard about how to be a Paladin that I fucked up my rotation now. I can't do it. Before, I would just mindlessly mash my keyboard, and I would do fantastic. And now I'm trying to like min-max it, and I can't. Now I fuck it all up. It's over. I can't do good anymore.
You're in your head, Slidewhistle.
But PvP, he's great. That's what he's for. He's my little PvP machine. He's got 3 out of 4 PvP tier, which is very weird to say.
I mean, it's hard to be too much in your head where you're sitting off on the base by yourself the entire time.
I was about to say, your head empty the vast majority of the time, so there's time for overthinking.
The best part is that when I'm sitting there, I literally get cabin fever. I've got cabin fever. I've got it too. And I'm like, I need to fucking fight. And once I see that we're going to lose, very clearly, nothing can happen, or we're going to win, nothing can happen, I charge my fucking horse right to the fucking fight, and I fight. And Bear's like, Felipe, are you at the base? And I'm like, no, I'm fighting.
Also, I want to say he started this wave of people calling you Philippe.
Yes, there's been a lot of Philippes, and I'm like, what is this? My like 9th grade gym class? That's what everyone called me in 9th grade gym class. Because my gym coach, he had a cochlear implant and he couldn't hear, so he'd be like, Philippe, all the time, and I'm like, that's not my name. But then everyone called me that. But they said it in like the cadence of a deaf guy, and it was kind of offensive. And I'm like, this is all around bad. This is not good.
When this happens and you get cabin fever, do you ever inadvertently join the Horde side?
Sometimes.
You get cabin fever and you're flipping your bandanas. Been stuck at sea so long, you've simply gone bananas.
So Slide made a purchase recently.
Oh.
You wanna tell the listeners about what you bought?
Okay, so this is not relevant to WoW. So if you don't care about Muppet Treasure Island, skip like 3 minutes.
Okay. I feel like we built this show on you have to deal with the WoW, and then also you have to deal with we are going to talk about Muppet's Treasure Island and other such topics for a little bit.
Very, very true. Long-term listeners know that we needed to fill the airspace during those long droughts in BFA with something, and we did. So. And
guess what, gang? The final raid came out. Things are turning down. There's going to be a lot more Muppet Treasure Island in this show coming up. Watch as the numbers plummet.
As previously discussed, this is probably my all-time favorite movie, or at the very least, my all-time watched movie. Love it. Love it so much. My mom took away the VHS from me as a kid because she hated the songs that played all the time. So I recently learned that there was a commentary edition of Muppet Treasure Island with Brian Henson, son of Jim Henson, and Fozzie Bear, and... No, not Fozzie Bear. Sorry, Rizzo and Gonzo. They were the two doing commentary.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That makes so much sense. Brian Henson has got to be the most boring motherfucker I've ever heard talk on a commentary track.
Is it primarily Brian?
So, I don't know. This is before.
I feel like Rizzo and Gonzo would really lead the show, and then maybe Brian can get a chuckle in.
You know, that's exactly what I thought. I thought it would be all three of them together. No, it's very clearly not. This must have been before commentary was cool, because it's Brian Henson talking about film techniques, which is fine, like it's interesting, but then he says things like, obviously, this shot took a very long time to film. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about film. Tell me why. And he's just like, obviously, because of you can see how wide the shot is, it would take. And I'm like, I don't know what this means. I don't care. Whenever he doesn't have anything to say, sometimes Rizzo and Gonzo would join in, very clearly not in the same room as him, filmed separately with different audio sounds. They sound a lot louder and a lot fuzzier than Brian Henson sounds. And they'll be like, hey, Rizzo, you remember that ship? And Rizzo's like, haha, yeah, I got some cheese on that one. And then it goes back to Brian being like, so this landscape was formed over the course of a week. And I'm like, oh my God, please.
Maybe this is just like a personal thing, but like, when I want commentary, I want like the personal tea. I want like, hey, this scene actually took the longest to film because the puppeteer for Miss Piggy had violent diarrhea shits and had to leave scene all the time.
The most interesting tidbit I got was when Captain Smollett, played by Kermit the Frog, and Miss Piggy, I forgot her character's name, Pepperina, whatever, something like that, were hanging upside down, and he was like, so, as you can see, they're upside down. We had to have Muppeteers hang upside down on dollies to be able to manipulate them. And I was like, I mean, I could have figured that one out myself, Brian. You can obviously they were upside down.
Oh, Brian.
Honestly, it was the worst commentary I've seen in my life. I fell asleep during it.
Did he talk about the infamous 1995 Hormel Foods Corporation lawsuit?
No, but he did try to backtrack on Blind Pew. Do you remember Blind Pew? He's this pirate who comes in and he gives...
Of course.
He gives the black
Pretty
spot.
Little Girl.
Okay.
Yeah, and he gives the black spot.
He said that the film got backlash from the blind community for depicting the blind as being foolish
like
or bumbling and like quote unquote idiots. And he was like, Blind Pew, he's not actually blind. It's an act. He's saying he's blind, and obviously he's not. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, Blind Pew is most definitely actually blind. He walks into a cat at the end of the fucking thing.
Also, he's a little puppet Muppet man. He's allowed to be silly.
Also, if you're pretending to be blind, does that make the argument stand any better against the fact that you're making fun of blind people?
He was most definitely PC backtracking to try to like defend the film, but like Blind Pew literally, as he leaves, put his hand in front of his face and tries to feel his way out, walks into a cat, collapses onto the floor, trash can sounds go off. I'm like, he's not being wacky. He can't see. He's blind.
You know what Brian said when they brought Blind Pew in for the first time?
What?
He said, there's got to be something better, a better joke to make.
Fun fact. Okay, I do have another fun fact from the commentary. When he sang that, he lip synced it. When he auditioned for the film, that was a song he sang, but his voice could not hit the same vibrato. Is that the high pitched term? Soprano?
Falsetto.
Yes, he could not do the falsetto anymore, and he tried to do it, and his voice cracked. so he had to lip sync to his audition when he first filmed. Isn't that interesting? Barely, Brian. It's barely interesting.
Did someone say barely? Waka waka.
All right, what's the last bit of Dragonflight news we have?
Okay, so like, yeah, this is now a Muppet Treasure Island podcast. I mean, it honestly always has been. If we're being frank here, it always has been. But anyways, we do have one
Frank,
last.
I'm Fozzie. Wamba wimba.
Well, we have one big, kinda big. I'm not going to oversell. We have a little bit more of Dragonflight news. We are officially getting a pre-Dragonflight expansion novel release on November 22nd, 2022. So this is probably like Before the Storm or Shadows Rising. So I guess we should double check like what are the release dates of those versus when the expansion came out. And I feel like this probably will lead to like an early 2023 release then.
Luckily for you, I have it right here because Wowhead actually had this on hand. Shadows Rising, the Shadowlands prequel, was released July 2020, 4 months before Shadowlands was released. Battle for Azeroth's prequel, Before the Storm, was released June, a mere 2 months before it came out in August. The Illidan, the Legion prequel, came out in April, 4 months before Legion came out in August of the same year.
Okay, so I will say that, like, okay, so based on this, it's either 2 or 4 months, but, like, personally, maybe this is just me, I didn't think of Illidan as a pre-Legion. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. This is
What?
No, that's what I'm saying. This is a me problem. I don't know why I didn't associate that as being, like, a pre-Legion novel, but,
Was Arthas a Wrath one?
I think I don't know when that came out. It honestly may have come out during Wrath, but I'm not really sure. Illidan, for me, I know you're saying it was for you personally, was most definitely, in my mind, the most prequel because it told you what happened to the Demon Hunters and why all that shit happened and why they were locked up in the prison with big fire golem dude and eyeball bitch.
No, and that's why I say it's a personal problem, because, like, the first books I ever read were Before the Storm and Shadows Rising. So, like, I started with those. So, like, that's why, like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, these are the pre-expansion ones. And I just didn't hop on the Illidan train like that before then.
Also, for those catching up at home, Arthas was, in fact, a prequel to Wrath.
What was the year it came out? Do you have the month?
Late 2007 for the book. And then the game came out November 2008. So that one was a long time.
Well, interesting that they're hiding that data from us. I mean, I guess it was old, so like not following the same trends.
Yeah, so I feel like the more recent data is probably better. And I also feel like, at least for Shadowlands, the 4 months was it wasn't intended to be 4 months. It was probably intended to be 2 months because, remember, Shadowlands got pushed back. So I feel like we probably can think more along the lines of closer to 2 months, which means that end of November, which means end of January, which also makes sense because they wouldn't want it at the beginning of January because of, like, the holidays. So I feel like, yeah, Dragonflight at the end of January, maybe early February. That makes sense to me.
Wildhead says they predict March 2023.
Well, Immunization predicts end of January, beginning of February 2023.
And you guys do have similar level of pedigrees. I can't argue with that.
Also, we haven't mentioned it yet, have we? WoW had completely changed. Like, what the fuck?
It's kind of weird. I get it, trying to modernize himself, but the fact that Immune couldn't see half of the articles published without ticking some boxes means that they messed up a little bit on their front. So if you're on Wowhead, make sure that you find the news ticker box and you tick off all the boxes because they turned half of his off for no reason and he couldn't see shit.
Yeah, so something we, like, maybe we're going to talk about, but we're kind of out of time now, is, like, how there's an article about, like, my boy Automatic Jack had, like, some article about the Evoker healing class, but it wasn't showing up for me because the new Wowhead, they have, as Slide was saying, like, there's, like, a drop-down box on the news where it's, like, you check all the things that you want to show up, and for some reason, when it switched over to the new Wowhead, it unchecked several, and I've never messed with that in my life, so I'm like, is this the way they want it to present itself to everyone? like just not showing beta news, which is like Dragonflight news, which is really important, I feel like, for a lot of WoW people that care about what's happening next expansion.
Yeah, so check that shit. It might be busted. Also, there's an interesting Wowhead comment here who did the math. Cordell 9. Typically, it's very close to a year between announcement and release, and he posted an entire timeline of announcement to release in days. Now, there's no sources, so his numbers could be wrong, but he took all these numbers and he averaged them out to say that for Shadowlands into Dragonflight, it's 372 days, which puts us squarely into April 2023 for Dragonflight. I'm gonna back my boy Cordell 9. I think April 2023.
So far we have predictions of February, March, and April 2023.
We just keep saying months, but can't be wrong, right?
That's the spirit of Dragonflight. Just say things. Eventually you'll be right, and then you win.
Cha-ching! And now it's time for our top two, bottom boot, medium moot. We're gonna send it first to our boy, Immunization. Psycho!
Oh, you tricked me.
Oh, I was also tricked in this process, and I will say that I have a big old honkin' top toot, baby.
Toot!
Yeah, that's how I would picture a honkin' top toot to sound. But anyways, mine is the fact that the Mythic Plus affixes are good again this week, baby. Last week sucked. I think combined amongst all my characters ran 4. I just hated it so much last week that I just did not want to run them at all. So I didn't. And this week, like, it's tyrannical, quaking. What's the other one?
I don't remember. That's how easy it is. I couldn't tell you.
Inspiring, which since it's not fortified is like it not as bad. So this week is good. I like it. I love keys. Everyone knows this. So I just feel good that I can do them again without feeling like I'm gonna die all the time. Like last week, it was awful. I hated it, and I think everyone hated it last week. But anyways, Aaron, I'll send it to you for real this time.
Oh boy, thanks. I was brimming with excitement here. So I have myself, it was gonna be a medium moot, but the gods of WoW did look upon me, and it is now a top toot. So in our Discord, go to donotrelent.com to join that. Tajurla posted that she had achieved the A to Zareth achievement and gotten a jellyfish out of it. And I said, shit, I didn't know they gave you a jellyfish on that.
Me neither.
Let me go do that real quick. So I went to go do that. The last thing I had to do was Treasures of Zareth Mortis, which was just get all the fun secret treasures.
Oh, so that's why you were looking for the ovoids.
Yes, I had just that, Crushed Supply Crate, Undulating Growth. I had just been like, those motherfuckers are just trash items. I don't need it anyways. But then I noticed I did have to do them, so I was like, well, let me do them. And I got them all, except for one, which only shows up if the frog quest is there. And I said, oh no, I won't be able to do it in time for the program because the frog quest isn't here. But this morning, I logged on before work, and there she was, the beautiful frog quest. I hippity-hopped my way up the tower. I got it. I got A to Zareth Mortis. I got a jellyfish. And then I spammed random mount for like a minute and didn't see it. So I was like, this does not bode well. I will never see this jellyfish again.
You know what's funny is that like you guys, Tajurla posting this in our Discord was my first time knowing that finishing A to Zareth Mortis gave you a jellyfish mount. I thought that the only way to get that were from like creating one through the obnoxious catalyst thing that you have to create with all those motes of things, or from killing HEARIN. So I know I need to do this too. And I think my last thing is I have to kill like a few more rares, and like this is my first time noticing that like the rares only spawn, like not all of the rares are there every day either.
My last one's the overgrowth one.
I was just
because it was
just about
bugged
to
for a
say,
while.
good job or good luck on overgrowth. That thing hardly shows up, and when it does, no one knows how to make it fight.
Ugh.
I fought Huracan more than I fought the overgrowth.
Damn.
But Slidewhistle, I believe you are the final one here. What is your
I have a
TTBBMM?
big, fat, top, medium moot.
Oh, you're being so tricksy today. Oh,
You're being so Trixie Mattel.
So,
it's because you know I'm naked. He's like me seeing me writhe and
show me your moots. Show me your
Okay.
moots.
Turns on camera.
So my medium moot is the TBC. What is TBC called? The Burning Crusade.
Burning
I was like and then I was like the boot. No, not the boot. The Burning Crusade. Classic. They had a change made to Black Temple. My daddy, Illidan's stronghold. Where if you kill Shade of Akama, which you fucking should, because Akama's a fucking traitor to all fucking demon hunters, then it opens up the Den of the Lights, which means you can skip Gurtog. You can skip a big fat funny feet guy. What's his name? In Warlords? Remember? He's in Warlords. He's a big fat soul eater. You go into his belly.
Oh,
Terran Gorefeed.
Terran Gore.
You can skip
There you
Terran
go.
Gore, and you can skip another fucking annoying person in the hidden wing. And this sounds great, right? This change was not added to retail. In retail, you know what I have to do to skip all this? I have to get on my Demon Hunter. I have to literally kill Shade of Akama, which like TBC Classic players do. I have to go find the chain that goes directly above the Den of Delights. If you glide up this chain, there's a lot of air that you could fuck up and fall off. You can climb this chain and you can do the skip yourself manually in retail. It's not that hard. But if you're drunk or if you're high, like I mostly am,
Or both.
it's very difficult to land these chain jumps.
Or if you're like historically really bad at platforming up chains like me.
He's pretty bad at it. So
You close your eyes and you see the Pandaria ropes all over again. No!
No, like every time I need to platform, I close my eyes and go back to that place.
the ghost of
Leah,
Leah Ren.
guide
The
me.
ghost of Leah Ren's appears. She's like, I am disappointed in you.
Same, Leah Ren, same. We're just trying to bring on the prosperity of your household.
So for the past 5 weeks, I've been doing the skip on my Demon Hunter to get the Warglaives of Azeroth. Because I can transmog them if I get the Warglaives and if I kill Illidan in Time Walking. I've been trying to get that. And there's no sign of retail getting the skip. Why? Add the skip to retail. Let me kill Shade of Akama and let me go right to the Den of Delights without doing this chain skip. There's no reason. If you're adding it to Classic, you can add it to the real game. Everyone is just doing this to do it. I dare you right now to go into Black Temple and go try to kill Illidan and not a Demon Hunter. It'll take you way more time than you think it will. Because finding the door, like this is before maps marked what doors were. So you're walking through this map like, I don't see a door, I don't see a door, I don't see a door. It's this random tiny rectangle out of the corner of your eye. You wouldn't even notice. And then once you get in, getting out is just as hard because you forgot where you entered from.
No, I will say that, like, I have farmed this in the past for one reason or another. I don't remember exactly why, but yeah, I literally had to look up guides to see how to get to the next boss while I was in there. So I get it.
By this point, I'm an expert chain jumper, but I'd rather not have to chain jump. So just bring it over to retail. Why did they get a good change for once? Where's my good change? Huh? Where's mine?
Not here. Also, I just want to, like, quickly before we close out, is this the first time that canonically Slidewhistle has said that Illidan is his father?
No, I said it all the time before.
Okay, but, like, you said daddy in the past, and, like, that could mean separate things.
He's my daddy.
Yeah, I believe you've always referred to him as your daddy, but then said very disgusting things that a father and son should not do with each other.
Then edit my daddy. They're into daddy. And then make listeners confused when they get to this point.
Okay, I'll make sure.
We could just cut this part. That's fine.
No, leave it. It's good.
No, I was just because like I just wanted you to say yes, so then I could say like canonically, who is Growlina's father and or mother?
Yes.
You know what? She has the same problems because Gen has been both her dad. I've said, "Oh, this is my father. Like, don't hurt my dad." And also, she has thirsted over Genethan Greymane and plotted to take out
Which,
Mia.
like, to be fair, I think I also have said that Velen is zaddy. So, like, maybe we just all have daddy issues. Maybe.
Yeah, there's just a lot of complicated feelings coming out of another pod. Do not relent.
I'm gonna make Mom Lena and send you inappropriate mail to my daughter.
Let's go.
Speaking of inappropriate mail, it's appropriate that we end the show with our top 2 patrons. We're talking about friend of the pod, Tajurla, 4th host of the podcast, Your Monkey. Ahoy Vince, a.k.a. Nathanos, killed himself to see Sylvanas, and she won't even pick up the phone. Insync/Drag Race, Crucifix, Saracen Hawk, our good Congressman Joe Dorno, vote for him in 2024. Gershom, Stony Tony's Stony Mama. Hoax, asking Growlina to say, "For the Horde." Vanderlyle, who asked that you check out projecthope.org and support any of the worthwhile causes they are raising funds for. And Will, a.k.a. Tyre, Trade Chat's fallen father.
And with that, we're out of here. Join our Discord at donotrelent.com. You can send us an email at donotrelentpod@gmail.com. Tweet at us at donotrelentpod. What about you guys? Where can I find you on the internet?
You can find me, Alex or Immunization, on Twitter at New Era Alex. You could follow our podcast Instagram account on the gram at Do Not Relent. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/Do Not Relent.
You can find me, Aaron the Human, at The Big Cheesy on Twitter. You can find our literary musings at donotrelent.livejournal.com. And come watch me, I guess, sweat my balls off live on Twitch. If you send me a donation, I'll get up and eat spaghetti. That's at twitch.tv/AaronDNR.
And with that, we're out of here. From my bestie, big, fat, ugly, bug-faced baby eating O'Brien, we say, and remember,
Another down! Do not relent!
Do Not Relent is a podcast within the 3HNC network, representing U.S. Proudmoore's premier podcasts.
That was a very good wish.